My experience with Latuda. Hey, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report is coming from an unknown user off psychcentral.com. When this happened, sometime in 2017, the drug used, Lurasidone, are under the brand name of Latuda. The dose, prolonged use. The route of administration, orally. Gender, male. Prior experience includes previous bipolar medication. And the set, coming in, this user was experiencing many negative symptoms from their condition. So here we are with our first Lurasidone experience. Lurasidone, are commonly known under the brand name of Latuda, has been commonly prescribed as an antipsychotic medication to those with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. This substance was brought up in combination not too long ago, so here we are to pretty much introduce it, what it is, and get an idea of what it does. Now, while this medication does aim to help those with BP or schizo, it has often been reported to come with varying side effects, some which can be very discomforting. But at the same time, this therapy still is up there as one of the more consistent effective treatments. But we'll break this substance down a bit more at the end. This report, I think, does a solid job at capturing what could happen when someone decides to hop on this medication. I think you'll find it interesting, so without further ado, let's dive right into this. I've been experiencing a depressive episode for a few months now. It has ranged from mild to severe. I have experienced all of the major symptoms, including depressed mood, loss of interest, changes in eating habits, problems with sleep, psychomotor retardation, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness, diminished ability to concentrate, and recurrent thoughts of death. That is a lot to handle for one person. I take medication daily in order to attempt to stave off symptoms of bipolar disorder. Something obviously wasn't working. I went to my psychiatrist for help. She prescribed Latuda. When my doctor first prescribed Latuda, I was skeptical. I know someone who had tried it, and not only was it ineffective, it made them physically ill. I realized that one situation does not describe every experience, but still, my body is incredibly sensitive, and I did not want a repeat situation of what I had seen. However, my psychiatrist was hopeful, so I agreed. I started taking Latuda at 20 milligrams daily. Like many psychotropic medications, it's important to titrate up to an effective dose. It needs to be introduced slowly in order to let the body get used to it over time. This process allows the patient to find the lowest effective dose along with the fewest side effects. I took 20 milligrams daily for 1 week. I saw no difference, but that can be expected. It's a low dose. The next step up was to 40 milligrams, at which my psychiatrist was hoping to see a change. Not only did I not find it effective, I seemed to be getting worse. I called my psychiatrist at this point to let her know, and she suggested I increase the dose up to 60 milligrams. Latuda has been shown to be effective in treating bipolar depression anywhere from 20 milligrams and 120 milligrams. It really depends on the person. It's been 2 weeks since I was prescribed the 60 milligrams, and I believe it's finally beginning to take effect. I feel like the clouds have lifted somewhat, and I'm able to breathe more freely. It's an excellent feeling, for which I am thankful. I still have bad days. It may be because the dose of Latuda is still too low for me, or it may just be a natural part of recovery. My psychiatrist wants me to stay at this dose for a while to see what's best. If it's still only partially effective, we'll increase my dose. Studies have shown the medication to be most effective between 80 and 120 milligrams, although 80 milligrams is indicated by the manufacturers to be the maximum dose. I am experiencing side effects with the Latuda. For a couple weeks, I experienced restless limbs. It was irritating, but not debilitating. I also noticed that when I take it without food, I often experience severe nausea. However, Latuda should be taken with food, as the body absorbs it twice as well compared to when it is taken without food. The biggest side effect I have experienced from taking Lurasidone is insomnia. It happens in about 11% of patients. Almost every night, it takes almost 2 hours for me to fall asleep, and I wake up throughout the night. If the medication weren't working at all, it would definitely not be worth it. Basically, my experience with Latuda has been mixed. I have definitely seen a reduction in my depressive symptoms, but it has come with some moderate to severe side effects. However, these may dissipate as I keep taking the drug. Hopefully that will be the case, and I will have found a medication that has effectively treated my severe bipolar depression. So here we are with another antipsychotic medication. I've been quite interested and enjoyed doing these, so feel free to request more if you want. But like I said, this is a common antipsychotic with millions being prescribed every year. Ideally, it's supposed to help clear up the mind per se, which I'm sure you can imagine how that would be with schizophrenia. With BP, it would be more about managing a depressive episode. Now, while it can do this, and how it's done isn't exactly known, it isn't without risk of side effects, though I will say most people do find Lurasidone to be one of the more tolerable ones. Now, the side effects of this substance can vary from something light and agitating to something very life-threatening. It really does come down to the person coming into it and how they react with it. But side effects can include sleepiness, some weight gain, dizziness, appetite changes, motor loss control, which can be a big one, or something more serious like affecting the QT interval of your heart, movement disorders, neuroleptic malignment syndrome. This substance can change your body's metabolism, so your lipids or glucose could end up getting thrown off, causing you some serious condition. Or another thing that's been reported, those with psychotic dementia are more at risk of death if they were to take Lurasidone. And I'm just scratching the surface there with that. There could potentially be a very high risk to your health when taking this substance and most other atypical antipsychotics. And it's a good thing to see the doctor in this report recommended gradually increasing the dose rather than jumping in head first. It wouldn't make sense anyways, as the use of this substance is supposed to be long-term. But not to say a single dose wouldn't do anything, though most of the effects studied have been from long-term usage. And speaking of which, while it's not recommended to use Lurasidone for a very long time because of a lack of evidence, it is very possible to become dependent on it, to the point where, if one were to stop abruptly, withdrawal symptoms can easily come up. This will vary, but patients have shown to exhibit both physical and mental distress from withdrawal, like nausea, sweating, trouble sleeping, and more. But like most withdrawals, it tends to taper away over time. And when it comes to combinations with this stuff, you are probably best off treading lightly here. It hasn't been studied that vastly, but something that stands out is grapefruit juice though. Its affinity towards the CYP3A4 could cause an increase of effects when taking Lurasidone. And if you don't know, with just about any antipsychotic, they tend to act as antagonists of 5-HT receptors. The same is true for the most part of Lurasidone. Because of this, when taking psychedelics, they are known to have a decreased effect. But other than that, I'm going to leave it there for today. I just wanted to introduce this substance and highlight what it can potentially do. I'm sure we'll talk about it again in the future. There's a lot more ground to cover with it. So if you want to see more on any antipsychotics or any substance at all, let me know in the comments below and we'll get to that. If you did enjoy the video, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, follow the socials, share the video. It's been someone that's no one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.